Hey, MCE crew, what's going on over there in Russia and the Ukraine has the potential to have some very negative financial effects here in the West, okay? We'll get into that. I want you to understand that our march toward financial independence could be presented with a challenge based on the actions that Vladimir Putin may take as a result of this financial blitzkrieg that the West has imposed on him and the people that surround him. Now, let me also say this. We're looking at the possibility that Vladimir Putin could be deposed, or for those of you from West Baltimore, thrown out of power. It could happen, especially if these financial sanctions, some of them continue to have a pretty aggressive effect on not just Putin, but the so-called oligarchs around him, right? To the extent that they are feeling the pinch financially, this thing definitely has a shelf life. Now, I've heard some people suggest that the sanctions need to be expanded, not just to the oligarchs, but to their families as well, because their families are still able to travel, able to spend money and things like that. So if you've got a situation where those sanctions are expanded and they start to hit the families, then you're looking at some pressure being applied here to Russia, unlike anything we've seen in the past. Now, when we wanted to go over and take out Saddam Hussein, tanks, planes, ships, soldiers, Marines, those were the tools that, that accomplished that. And again, I'm not commenting on the, right or wrong. We're not going to get into a morality play. We're just dealing with the facts here. All right. But in this conflict, what we're seeing, the weapons that are being employed are financial, right? And they seem to be possibly having a more immediate effect even than the traditional methods of warfare of, conventional weapons, soldiers, and that sort of thing. So is the West financial blitzkrieg working? Russia thought it would roll over Ukraine, but the West financial blitzkrieg now threatens to trigger the unraveling of Putin's autocracy. Excellent. The West needs Russia, and Russia needs the West. It's Putin's kleptocracy we could all do without. So, of course, as always, we're going to link to this. We'll cover some of the high points, but you need to go ahead and delve deeply into this because there's a lot of stuff that I'm hearing about. Guys, I don't watch the news. I haven't for many, many years. But I get the flavor of what the American media is putting out there because I talk to people and, we talk about the issues. And I ask them actively, well, where'd you learn that? Oh, well, Clown News Network or Fox News, And then I get kind of a feel for, okay, I see how the media is spinning this. But we're here to concern ourselves with financial independence, with your financial independence. So we want to look at global events from the standpoint of money, okay? Because money changes everything. Well, this is new and exciting. We've invented a whole new way to wage war, and it might even work. It only took a day. But what we've already learned about the financial blitzkrieg is you can't have half measures. You need to go in brutal, all out and nasty from the get-go. You might hear some guys working on a part of the property out there. I don't know if you can hear that. Don't worry how messy it gets. Go in hard and don't stop punching. Don't bring a knife to a financial fight. Bring machine guns and lots of sanctions. Messy it will get. Citicorp's $10 billion exposure to Russia is a rounding error, but Austria's Raffian's $9 billion number will hurt. They're a smaller company. Austria is also 100% dependent on Russian energy. This is another thing we need to talk about. The world right now is interconnected and interdependent in large part when it comes to energy and finance, okay? And even to a great extent, communications. So it's very easy. I hear a lot of people, this is the most foolish thing I've ever seen in my life. People are saying, I'm not going to drink Russian vodka. Here in America, I don't know about your country, but here in America, people are saying, I'm not going to drink Russian alcohol. The alcohol, if it's here, whoever manufactured it already has been paid, okay? So you're not striking a blow for anyone saying that you're not going to drink Smirnoff if it's already in your liquor cabinet, okay? Number two, and this is important, you've got to start to think about separating the people of a country from the political leadership of a country. So when we talk about, I guess this is, you know, individuals' little attempt to impose their own sanctions, so to speak. But I don't think that, you know, not drinking your Stoli is going to bring Vladimir Putin to heel anytime soon. French and Italian banks are on the hook for some $25 billion. No surprise there, but even that is acceptable blue on blue collateral damage. So you see, when you go to war, you get buildings destroyed, you get all kinds of equipment destroyed. It's collateral damage. Now they're saying that, you know, these billions of dollars that these companies are going to miss out on because they're pulling out of Russia, let's just chalk it up as collateral damage. So they're really looking at this in terms of they're looking at this in terms of a real battle, analogous to a real battle. Now, if you are an investor in these companies, this could hurt. So we did a video way back when saying what you need to do as part of your due diligence is look at what type of exposure companies you invest in might have to, you know, foreign interest. Okay. And what is the political situation of those areas? Is it stable? Okay. If it's not, you stand to gain, you know, because of the risk involved, maybe a lot of money, but you also stand to lose your entire investment. If, for example, some new leader comes in and says that he's seizing the means of production in, you know, whatever country you've invested in. The West surprised everyone, especially ourselves, with the scale of the weekend financial assault on Russia. The crunch moment that swung Europe behind stronger sanctions was a call with Ukrainian President Zelensky. He told them he didn't expect to survive to speak to them again. Even the Germans were moved. Zelensky is that good. Now, whether or not that was the case, doesn't matter. He sold it, okay? And in so doing, he got the West to really impose, you know, a lot of sanctions. Now, look, here's the thing. Vladimir Putin could turn around and say, you know what, since we want to play the sanctions game, I can return fire. 21% of gasoline here in the United States is imported from Russia. And prior to this conflict, I did not know that. So he could cut off the spigot. Now, if he did that, it wouldn't just raise prices at the pump, but because everything is transported to your local Walmart or your Target by truck, it would raise fuel prices across the board, and then those cost increases would be incorporated into the prices of whatever it is you're purchasing, from bacon to furniture and everything in between. So we're talking about real inflation being up near 14% right now. Vladimir Putin actually has the capability to turn it up a notch and possibly throw us into the 20% real inflation zone really quickly. Now, here's the thing. I know a lot of people are saying 20%. How are we going to go from 7.5? Now, if you're watching this channel, you know inflation is not 7.5%. You know that when you account for energy and food, throw those figures in there, the two most common aspects of the economy that you interact with every day, you know that inflation is a hell of a lot higher than 7.5%. That 7.5% is what they throw out on the news media, okay? This is for people who read teleprompters. They're not asking questions. They're not delving deeply, okay? They got 2 minutes max to cover any subject. And a complex subject like this, you really think your local newscaster or some bum on one of these cable news programs, you really think they understand this deeply? Okay, let's be real. So Putin could do that, he could do that, no problem. Now, I know a lot of you are saying, because we have covered this, that Russia is resource rich. They are. However, if the markets have locked up and are not accepting your goods, then that could pose a problem. Now, again, it could pose a problem not just for Russia, but for other parts of the world as well. Again, we talked about the oil. There's an issue with certain types of grains that they produce, okay? So they've got some leverage. Don't think that they don't. Who knows if they're going to be willing to use that leverage. So we shall see. All right, I want to end with this because this is very, very insightful, I believe. The reality is simple. The West needs Russia's commodity resources. Russia needs the West open markets. That's a win-win trade. The alternative for Russia is bleak because, look, they're about to get into talking about the relationship Russia has with China. But if you really examine that, you can see that China is positioning itself for Russia to become kind of a client state. This whole financial war is working out very, very well in China's favor, okay? Because China wouldn't mind if Russia just became a client state, okay? Russia, the resource-rich continent slash country almost, they would love that. So, again, the alternative for Russia is bleak. Become a price taker from China, which will prove entirely suboptimal. China will treat them abysmally, and they will, and probably seek to integrate mineral-rich Siberia into their co-prosperity sphere. Man, this is interesting because remember, the Mongol hordes would march into a territory and just incorporate it by force, okay? Military force. This could happen. We could see this same result just based on economic force. The alternative upside is to stop trying to fuck with the West, their words, not mine, and become part of it. Share the mutual prosperity, access to Western goods, tech, and services, or become China's serf. That's just what I just said, their client state. Russia, you choose. Now look, the West is not pure as the wind-driven snow, but what the author is trying to do here is make the case for increased financial prosperity for all parties involved. Russia still has a chance to make this good. The chances, who knows? The author says, I got a panic call yesterday asking what I knew about Russian default. Wow, that triggered some memories. Russia has broken itself before. It's doing it again. Yesterday, someone in the Kremlin announced Russian borrowers would stop repaying foreign loans, triggering immediate speculation it was an event of default. The comment was swiftly withdrawn, but it was an interesting moment. So Russia's feeling the heat, okay, financially. They're really feeling the heat. Notice, nobody is firing back into Russia with munitions. They're firing back. Man, these guys got, projectiles coming from everywhere, but these are projectiles that are in the form of a lack or a disappearing of financial opportunity. I know I said this was the last thing, but this is interesting. Europe and the West should now go much further. Completely freeze all of Russia's access to SWIFT. That's that banking internet that we discussed. That has potential negative ramifications for the United States of America and other Western countries. So I'm not too sure that they're going to do that. Worry not about energy in Europe. It might be short-term painful, but the long-range weather forecast is for a mild European spring. So this guy's saying, hey, guys, tough it out. Don't want an extra sweater. Tell Russia you don't need... Who needs what more? As we go into the spring and summer, warmer months in the Northern Hemisphere, then it stands to reason that Germany might be able to say, hey, you know what? Go on, keep your, Germany and Austria might be able to say, go on and keep your energy, Russia. We'll tough it out. Who'll last longer? Yeah, you got resources, but again, if you can't sell them, what good are they? All right, so make sure the Russian people know why this is happening. Make clear to every Russian how they behave today determines their personal future tomorrow. The West is watching, which is why oligarchs like Abramovich are trying to play both ends, and their kids are breaking ranks. See, that's important. Better to lose $1 billion, keep 100 million, than to have a head on a spike with nothing. So we see Abramovich, and, you know, we're going to see, I'm sure there is a lot of concern over there in Russia about where this thing is going and how long they can last before they really take a serious financial, unrecoverable financial hit. Their names are already mud in the greater financial community. No one wants to touch them. They're toxic. So this is the new face of warfare, guys. But don't think it's reserved just for country on country. We've seen it first. We've seen sanctions first employed recently against citizens of Australia, Canada, and the United States of America. So go back, look at what we've talked about before. We're going to attach some videos to the end of this one that you can watch and try to figure out how to shore up your financial fortress and keep you from having to sleep on a park bench in case your country turns its ire on you. All right, guys, I'll talk to you soon. To learn more about how you can achieve financial independence, check out these videos we recently posted on the Money Changes Everything channel.